July 4th, 12:52 a.m. I'm not asleep because I took B12 late. And there's something that's just been thinking about. So, which story do I start with first? So there's two stories. One is that in the last couple days, I shared a truth that I haven't shared, and I don't plan to share for my reasons. But I shared it with these individuals, and it had to do with my purpose in life. And I shared it with these individuals because there's a certain level of trust that's been built with them. And so I wanted to see what their reaction would be once I shared this truth with them. And it was a truth that they kind of sought out. I mentioned it, this knowing. And I think I've shared it before, that there's this knowing that I have of what my purpose is. And the only thing I don't know is the in-between. And these individuals asked what that was. And I felt comfortable enough to share it with them because of the foundation that's been built in our friendship. And so I realized that was a theme. For these specific, there's more individuals that asked, but I didn't share it with everybody. Just for that reason, that I felt comfortable sharing it with the people that I've been speaking more of my truth with on a personal level. And I shared it with a few other people. And, you know, there's always this element of being judged. And not that I think because of the heaviness, I'm just careful, cautious as to who knows this information. But I realized, I'm like, oh, that's a theme. This speaking of this truth. And I shared it because in this process of exploring the possibility that this whole journey has brought me full circle back to where I started with the slight shift in focus and what that means and what that could potentially look like, right? In terms of just the creativity behind how I want to, or how I envision the outcome being, maybe. Yeah. And you know, I don't think much of it in the sense of like, I think when it was first shared with me, there was this heaviness but validation at the same time of this knowing, of just knowing that I was meant for something big. Like I just always knew. I just didn't know what it would be. And then hearing this individual last fall share this truth with me during a period when I was super emotional. So I was just emotional when she shared it with me, and I didn't ask questions. I just accepted And now, in retrospect, I wish I would have asked more questions. But I didn't. I just left it as is. Because I think I was just trying to process it. Yeah. And just knowing, really, I mean, I was telling this last individual that I spoke with today, or yesterday rather, on the 3rd, that I try not to think about it. I thought I had more time, really. I thought I had more time before I had to work on that. And now I'm realizing I don't have all the time, that I need to get on it, right? I need to refocus my attention to it. Wondering if this new fire sign has anything to do with it, right? Because it definitely prompted, that thought about it again in a different way. I guess what I'm getting at is just, it was just a theme. That's all. It was just a common theme of letting 3 people letting 3 out of the 4 people know what my purpose in life is. Yeah, just the theme. And now wondering, well, what does that mean, right? So that's one story. Story number 2. On my flight back to San Francisco a couple of days ago. Yeah, I was minding my own business. As I usually do. And I'm in the lobby of the airport, LAX. And, you know, I board my plane and I tend to sit in the back. Because it's closer to the restrooms. No one's behind me. And I don't know why lately I've been just, you know, drawn to the back of the plane. No one was sitting next to me, and the flight attendant approaches me and says, "Hey, would you mind switching? There's a man and his young son, you know, and they want to sit together." And that my seat was the only seat that was empty, and I'm by myself, so I said, "Sure, no problem." So I switched seats, and I happened to sit next to this guy who starts talking to me. And he tells me that he's been looking at me, staring at me since the lobby. And I'm like, okay. And just starting conversation about how he was wondering what ethnicity I was. That he had noticed me in the lobby, and that he's surprised that I'm now sitting next to him because he was curious about me and just how I looked and I guess my mannerisms. I don't know. I don't remember exactly what he was saying. But in our conversation, like, I knew he spoke Spanish, and there was a part where I couldn't, I had forgotten how to word something in English, so I just said it in Spanish. And then he's like, "Oh, you speak Spanish?" And then we just started speaking Spanglish, right? Spanish and English. And then conversation leads to, you know, he can't believe I'm 40, I look really young. You know, the typical conversation that usually happens when I let people know that. And that he couldn't believe that my family's from Mexico. Because I don't look Mexican, and I said I get that a lot. Oftentimes get told that I look Lebanese and that my brother looks Middle Eastern because he has very strong features. And I'm talking to him, and then I realize that both grandparents, my grandfather on my mom's side and my grandfather on my dad's side, are both whites, fair skin whites, very fair skin, both tall, and both, one has blue eyes, I think, blue green eyes, and then my other grandfather has hazel eyes. And it didn't dawn on me until I said it. And we were talking about just, he encouraged me to do that DNA thing, and I was like, oh, maybe I should. But conversation led to another, and we had a really good conversation, and we talked about just our lives and just how things are evolving, right? And I'm being honest and genuine, but you know, I'm being mindful of what I'm sharing too, and I'm sharing my beliefs, right? We're sharing each other our beliefs about, you know, I'm sharing about believing in past lives and spirituality, and we get into this friendly banter of religion. And so it was entertaining, and the whole flight to San Francisco, I mean, went quick. And he's just like, he's adamant that he's gonna see me again. And I'm like, okay. I mean, he lives in another state. And I told him, like, I'm planning on moving to San Francisco. But he's just adamant that and he's bold enough to say, I'm gonna ask for your number. I said, I'll give you my number. I believe that people are meant to cross paths for a reason, but I'm letting you know right now that I'm in terms of relationships, I don't know if it's for me, because I'm realizing that I can't commit to a relationship. I'm realizing that I'm like a bird, and that I'm just like, and I land somewhere, flutter my feathers and my wings, and do my ripple effect, and then I fly somewhere else and do the same thing. So I'm like, I don't think I'm meant to settle down, maybe. Because it just seems like every time I have the intention to settle down, it's just, the world just says, just kidding. and this sense of stability, right, falls through. So I, you know, it reminds me of another conversation I had with someone about feeling like I'm this stallion, like this wild stallion that no one can tame. And this person said, welcome to the club. And I was just like, where has this club been? Because I didn't realize that one existed. So there's this realization that maybe, just maybe, right, I'm not meant to settle down. And you know, it goes back to that whole Orpheus story about whatever's meant to catch up to me will catch up to me, right? And whatever doesn't isn't meant for me. So anyways, we're talking, and he tells me that there's this movie that he's being triggered to remember, and it's called El Hilo Rojo, and I'd never heard of it before. So he sends me the name of it, and we're just sharing information, right? Books and movies, but he's just adamant that we're gonna see each other again. I'm like, okay. And we continue to text, and then he says, maybe this is too early to say, I'm sorry, but I feel a big connection with you. It's almost like if I already know you. I'm like, I've heard that one before. And not to discount it or make fun of it. It just, I don't know what to make of a comment like that anymore. You know? Because I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel anything talking to him, aside from the comfort of and the similarities in our stories, being both the oldest of our families, and realizing that he's not the only one who says that to me. And wondering, am I blocking something? Am I being blocked because I'm not feeling the same thing? Or is it more this effect that I have on people, that they feel that there's a connection? And I don't know if it's maybe because of my vulnerability in sharing my truth, that people will then feel like they know me, right? It's like a reality TV show, right? Because I sent him, I figured, okay, he's continuously reaching out. And so I said, okay, well, so if we're going to do this friendship thing, then there's more truth that you need to know about me. And I send him my link to the YouTube channel. And I mean, that's always my gauge of like, how's he going to respond to that one? And how are we going to move forward? Because I've shared it with other people, and people are concerned. They're concerned, especially if they don't watch it from the beginning, right? If they don't watch it from the beginning, and I told them, I recommend that you watch it from the beginning, from chapter 1, because if not, you're going to take things out of context, right? It's like when we quote the Bible. I was telling my loved one today, it's like when we quote the Bible without referencing the whole book, without looking at the context of the book, and just taking out Bible verses just because it's appropriate to our situation. And we had this conversation about other people reaching out and telling me that I'm going down the wrong path. And I'm like, I asked for that, right? In doing this, I'm asking for that for the sake of conversation, of having conversations, right? And so when people watch my videos, they're either really concerned for me, or they're connecting with me in a way that they feel they know me, right? And the battery's running out. So I guess I'll just speak more to this at another time. But it's been in my head about this connection that people feel with me, and I'm wondering if it's just because of my vulnerability, or if I'm blocked. So only time will tell, right? So that's running through my head a little. I guess we'll see. I'll end it there. Till next time. Bye. My name is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learn to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us. In whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth, this just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node design, but I have that and other things that you can look at inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be be vulnerable, you know, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience, and that you find some type of truth for yourself, or find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, you know, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So I thank you, and I wish you all the best, and you know, we'll see what else comes next for me. So take care.